11:45.
Yes, it is 11:45, so let us begin today's seminar. Welcome, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Jayaratne, who serves as Professor and State Leader for Extension Evaluation. Dr. Jayaratne grew up in Sri Lanka. He later moved to the United States. He was an Extension District Director in Sri Lanka. After earning his PhD from Iowa State University, he joined the University of Georgia in 2001 and served as evaluation specialist for 5 years. Then he joined NC State as assistant professor, state leader for program evaluation in 2006. His scholarship spans extension, teaching, and research. He provides leadership for evaluation to North Carolina Cooperative Extension faculty. He has extensive experience in program evaluation and international agriculture. He remains active in the American Evaluation Association, American Association for Agricultural Education, Association for International Agricultural and Extension Education, and North American Colleges and Teachers of Agriculture. Notably, both of his sons are NC State graduates. Today, Dr. Jayaratne will share lessons learned regarding the Delphi technique. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Jayaratne.
Thank you, Dr. Donaldson, your introduction. And so I hope that I will be able to share some, of this tool, and you will be able to use it. And I would like to ask from our graduate students, how many of you are really, the hate or doesn't like much statistics? Raise your hand so that I will be able to see you. Some of you have only pictures there. So is anybody really passionate and very, really love statistics? So if not, this is the, actually, this is really good. Now, when you want to do research, there are two areas, quantitative and qualitative. So for the quantitative research, you need to have a really good understanding of statistics. But when it comes to qualitative research, actually, you should be a very good analytical writer. But sometimes, without having those two skills, you can do research with Delphi study. That is the beauty and the good thing about this method. So with that, let me share my objectives for this session. So I want to share my research interests and then introduce the Delphi technique as a practical research tool, especially if you want to do some sort of action research while you are in your job, maybe agriculture teacher, maybe extension agent. So if you want to do some research, action research, this is really a practical tool. And if you, and again, I want to share some of the examples of research conducted using Delphi technique involved some of our own graduate faculty, graduate students, and share lessons learned and initiate a dialogue for exploring the usability of this method when you do your research, maybe independent studies, maybe your graduate dissertation or thesis, and provide literature sources to learn more about the Delphi technique. And I will provide that. With that, so these are my research interests, as Dr. Donaldson mentioned. So the primarily program evaluation, that is the most interesting topic or the content area that I want to focus on during my career, and the extension program planning and international agriculture. You will see that some of my literature that I recently studied that I work with some of the students, grad students, I will share. Now this, it's a very good research method to seek the expert view related to a research question and build a consensus. This is an example. For example, now if you want to do a study, what are the most important challenges faced by new agriculture teachers or extension agents during their first 3 years? So as an agriculture teacher or extension agent, if you want to do that, this is the right method. It is the good method. So what are the effective strategies to manage those challenges? If you want to explore these two research questions as an action research, you can do, you can use this method and build a consensus around that, those exploring research questions. And when you want to do this, what is important is that you will have to select your panel of experts. So they are experts in the sense they know that exploring research question more than anybody. That is why we call that group is expert panel. So this method was initially developed by Delphi and Helmer at the RAND Corporation in 1950s as a military strategy first. And after that, now it is widely used in all other areas, even in engineering and agriculture as well as education. So this example for research conducted using Delphi technique with graduate students. These are very recent studies that I did with our own graduate students. Actually, these two studies I did with one of our doctoral students. He actually now works as an extension specialist, and one was published in this summer, one international journal, and the other one actually published in the Journal of Extension. Those two were regional studies done with extension agents. And these three articles are based on, one was published in 2020, the other one 2019, the other one is 29. So those three articles are based on one study that we did. It was a national study done with all extension evaluation specialists across the United States. So we call it national study because the panel consisted of all extension evaluation specialists across the state, across the United States. And the last one is a dissertation completed by one of my doctoral students. She was an extension youth development agent in North Carolina. She completed this dissertation and defended it in last December and graduated in this last spring. And this study is a national study because she selected that Delphi panel across the United States. So those individuals were the expert in planning and implementing POH camps. So these are some examples very recently done studies in our department by involving graduate students. The previous one actually, I worked with two professionals and two universities. Actually, one of them was one of our graduate doctoral students here at NCSU. Now he's a faculty member. So how to implement the Delphi method? This is very practical. So let me show you that what you need to do is that select the expert panel related to the issue you want to investigate. So that is the most important thing that you need. So if you want to explore what are the challenges faced by new agriculture teachers or new extension agents, the best group will be those who are under 3 years of experience, so that they know every day what they are facing. So you will be able to get that. So when you work with a group of people, you will be able to identify what are those. And at the same time, it is important to focus on selecting 15 to 25 members for the panel. So if you are doing a national study, it is a good idea to select more. And if you are doing a regional study, you may select 15. So it depends on the variety of people that actually, diversity of people involved in that process. For example, if you are going to do agriculture teachers, there are, you need to make sure that there are rural and urban schools will be included because they are facing different challenges. And at the same time, you need to include different gender. At the same time, you need to include, the ethnic diversity as well. So that is how you need to make sure that everybody will be included. And they explain that they will be contacted for 3 rounds of survey. So that is the most important thing to remember, that not like this is not a one time, it is a consensus building process that involves 3 rounds. And So you need to get their commitment and the consent to participate in that 3 rounds. Otherwise, it will not be possible for you to complete that. They conduct 3 rounds of online surveys with the panel. So nowadays, actually, it is a good idea to use the online survey. That way, you can make it easily, will not cost much. The first round survey, the aim or the objective of this first round survey is to brainstorm the expert panel for exploring the issue. And so that, we will be able to get all possible answer choices for the exploring research question. That is the purpose and the aim. For example, if you want to know what are the challenges faced by post 3-year new agriculture teachers in their job or the extension agents in their job. So if that is the question, we will brainstorm for that, for all possible challenges with this group and develop the first round survey around this question and make sure that not to include a lengthy list of questions. You need to focus only 2 to 4 questions directly related to your exploring research problem. And these are some examples. So what are the most important challenges faced by new agriculture teachers, extension agents during the first 3 years? And is an example. And the second question is, what are the effective strategies to manage those challenges? So if you want to do a study around these 2, we can focus on those, only on those 2. And then use the Qualtrics. Using Qualtrics is a good idea to conduct this 3 rounds of survey. You may use another survey tool, but this is available and access to you because NCSU has subscribed to that tool. And analyze responses to each question and identify unique responses by eliminating duplicates, because different respondents might have used different words, but if the idea is the same, and then you combine those and identify the unique list of responses for each question that you actually brainstorm during the first round. So at the end of that analysis, you need to have identified unique list of responses for that question, each question. And then we will use those responses for building the second round survey. The aim of the second round survey is to build a consensus and verify whether there are any other additional responses to each question. Is this the exhaustive list of possible challenges, possible alternatives, or is there any? We ask that during the second round. So the identified unique list of the first round survey results for each question is used to develop the second round survey. And this is an example for that. So if you use those 2 questions in the survey, the second round survey will be like this. The first question, how significant is each of the following challenges faced by new agriculture teachers, extension agents during the first 3 years? And so we will use this Likert type, the not significant at all, 1 to very significant for each and every item that we identified as a result of that brainstorming during the first round, and we include those. In addition to that, you will have a whole bunch of things. I have used only 3 examples here, but at the end, what you need to do is that please add any challenge not in the above list and rate it. So that way we will be able to make sure that if there is any other additional item, we can get it into the third round. So that is the purpose of asking that. So same way, the second question, you summarize that, how effective is each of the following strategies to manage the challenges you face during the first 3 years. So then we list all the possible answers that came during the first round. And then we use that not effective at all as the 1 to very effective Likert scale. And again, we need to include that the additional, if there is any additional answer to this list, and then asking them to include that into the list, so that by the end of this second round, we will have their responses like this. So we need to set up the threshold level to accepted consent as the accepted level of consensus. Generally, people set up 2/3 of the respondents, which means 67% of the respondents considering it as an important or very important, or very important. That means significant, very significant in this case, as the threshold level. Now, these are the 3 items that we included in the survey. If we included that, and if this is the level of responses, we got it, and we can see that pooling resources is not really considered by that threshold level. That means only 30% are considering it is significant or very significant. So therefore, we are not going to include in the third round because there is no any consensus among the group that as an important challenge. So therefore, we are going to drop it. And the balancing work and life, it is going to be an important one because the 40% significant, very significant 50%, that means 90% of them are considering it either significant or very significant. So therefore, we are going to keep it. And same way, understanding job expectation, 40% significant, 40% again, very significant, combining those two 80%, that is above our threshold level of 67%. So therefore, we are going to keep it. And then if we found another new item actually came as a result of the second survey, understanding organizational policies, if that is the case, and if this one will not get many responses because 1 or 2 may responded to that. So, but still, if they consider it is important, we include that also in the third round. So we will use these results that we get from the second round for building the third round. In the third round, the second round survey results will be used to build that. As I said earlier, the aim of the third round survey is to further consolidate the consensus of the panel. So in that case, panelists are asked to indicate whether each challenge or strategy, a challenge strategy in this case, should be retained as an important challenge issue by using a dichotomous scale with possible responses, like yes or no. Or you may include, instead of that dichotomous response, you may include, instead of that, you may use strongly agree, strongly, agree, strongly disagree type like a scale. So the strongly disagree, neutral, agree, strongly agree, likewise. So you are free to use one of those, but using yes and no will be much easier, and it is very simple. A threshold value of 80% is used as a priority to select the items receiving the acceptable level of consensus. You may use a different threshold depending on the literature and your area and the interest. And so this is the the type of survey that you are going to develop based on your second round results. Please indicate whether each of the following is an important challenge new agriculture teachers, extension agents face during the first 3 years. So you can ask that, and then at the end you will be able to see that how many of them are checking yes, how many of them are checking no for each and every item that we retain as a result of consensus building during the second round. Now we are actually verifying another round with the group to make sure that these are the most important challenges. That is what we are doing in this third round. So in addition to that, I want to mention that if you are preference, if you prefer to use yes, no, you may use this one. But if you want to use a Likert scale, depending on the question and the response, if you prefer that, and if you feel that Likert scale is more appropriate than the dichotomous, you may use that. So in that case, you will be able to write that same question like this. Please indicate your level of agreement with each of the following as an important challenge new agriculture teachers, extension agents face during the first 3 years. And the challenges you will list, and then the strongly disagree one, strongly agree one, you may use this Likert scale. And the third round survey results, if you use this yes, no dichotomous answer choices, it will be ending up like this. The balance in work and life. So the yes 90%, assume that we get that result. And the understanding job expectation, we got 80%, 85%. And we are going to keep those two because those are above our threshold level that we set as a priority. And we will consider these are actually important challenges. And the understanding organizational policies, we identify this as the result of the second round responses and included in the final survey. But we found that only 75%, if that is the case, we are going to drop because it is not hitting this threshold level of 80%. So by the end of the third round, you will be able to identify the expert panel, identified important challenges and strategies. So by completing these 3 rounds, the first round is brainstorming solutions for the research question. The analysis of that first round will ending up the unique list of responses to the research question. The second round will be used to build the consensus around that topics and seeking additional topics to make sure that list include all possible responses. And then the third round will be used to build the further, the consensus. Now, by the end of third round, we will have that list of items that they consider as important or important for that research question. So if you ended up with many items at the end of the third round, you may use the you may use the qualitative data analysis technique to group your items into meaningful categories. That can happen if you are going to do a national Delphi study with 25 individuals across the country. When you complete those 3 rounds, it is possible that you will be ending up with a long list of items related to the research question. So now when you are going to present it in a journal format or a dissertation, so what is important is that you need to identify and group those, the responses into meaningful categories. For example, if you are asking the challenges faced by new agriculture teachers during their first 3 years or extension agents in their first 3 years in their job, so we may be ending up 40, 60 lists sometimes. It can happen. So then what we need to do is that we can categorize them into, some identifiable groups like resource management challenges or the work-life balancing challenges, program planning challenges or curriculum development. So whatever it is that it makes sense, then you can actually group them. That way, you can present that information in a meaningful way, because at the end of the day, this is a the action research type thing. So you are trying to find a solution to every day that we face in our work, so that you explore the research question. Now we are presenting results in a way that whoever is going to read that will make sense, make meaning out of that, and they will be able to put that information into practice. And the take-home summary, this is what I want you to go with. The Delphi technique is a very practical research method. You don't need to know much about a statistic. If you know how to, calculate means and the percentages, that is good enough. And you don't need to be very, the analytical writer. If you can differentiate differences of those responses, that is good enough. So with that, it is really good for anybody. And the Delphi panel should be selected based on the expertise related to the investigation research problem. If you read those, the articles that I shared with you that published with graduate students and the dissertation, you will find that each study, we selected the Delphi panel based on the central research problem that we were exploring. In the very first one, we selected county extension agents. They are really good at, the very first study, one study that we wanted to do, the 4H International Study Abroad Exchange Program. So we asked those district directors to name some of the extension agents especially POH agents, involved in youth international exchange program. So we want to make sure that they know what we are asking, because otherwise responses and the results will not make any sense, may not be useful. And they explain the process to their panel and get their commitment before commencing this study, because you will have to contact them 3 times. That is what we do in modified Delphi technique, but sometimes people go even 4th time. So therefore, you need to make sure that whoever is going to commit, they know that they will have to answer 3 times. And sometimes you may wonder whether people will commit for that. Yes, if you explain and if you tell them that you are selected based on your expertise in this area or your experience, so then they will commit. That is how we were able to get it done with those in 3 POE studies. Actually, I shared that published results. And we use online survey building tools such as Qualtrics that will make easy. And limit your questions to 2 to 5. And if you add more, too much work for you, and again, it will dilute the effort of your expert panel, because you're asking too many things. They will be distracted. Don't do that. It is not a good idea to do that. And set your acceptable levels of consensus for the 2nd round and 3rd round. In this case, I said we use 2/3 agreeing or strongly agreeing or considering it is important. And the 2nd round data and 3rd round analysis, we use 80% of them are actually agreeing with that. And if the 3rd round is yielding to a long list, and then group them into a meaningful category, so that actually you will be able to present your findings in a meaningful way. And so this is what I was planning to share. And I said that I'm going to share some of the literature. And these are some of the literature actually we use when we were doing these studies, and we have cited. And if you go back to those journal articles and the dissertation that I shared in my early slide, and that literature will include some, and some of those are here. And if you're interested in doing that, you may explore those resources. And so that is all I plan to share. And now, yes, I already passed nearly 32 minutes. And remaining time, we want to discuss. If you have any questions, this is the time for us to discuss. So with that, I will open for questions. Joseph?
Dr. Jayaratne, thank you very much. If you have a question, please do not hesitate to ask or use the chat feature. And Dr. Jayaratne, I would like to get us started. Have you ever had a Delphi study where you had multiple panels, for example, studying the effects of COVID on graduate education, and potentially a panel of administrators and a panel of faculty and a panel of students? And if so, do you have any words of wisdom for managing multiple panels?
So actually depending on the the problem we investigated, we included multiple layers of individuals into the team. For example, when we were studying the evaluation specialists, actually we included different level of evaluation specialists in the team. And another one, actually, when we are doing the youth exchange program, we wanted to get it from different angles, so we included what is called the county extension agents who were doing that, as well as county extension directors also, I guess. So but we included all of them because they are the experts in that area. But we didn't do different. We didn't consider them as different panel different panels. We consider them as one panel, but they are bringing that their perspective from different angles. Did I answer to your question, Joseph?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Actually, the good example is that Laura's dissertation completed in December. So she used faculty who were doing, the POH, youth development, camping, academic staff. And then she included actual camping directors who are doing it every day. So that she was able to get the actual, the perception from different angles, academics, what they think, and then actual, the people who do it. So we wanted to get that overall picture. Therefore, we included both the practitioners as well as the researchers and the academics as well. It looks like everybody's hungry. Any other questions? We have 14 minutes.
So Dr. Jayaratne, there's a question in the chat from Dr. Lindsay Haynes Maslow. How do power dynamics affect that panel response? And how do you address that bias?
It's a great question. Thank you, Lindsay. But the very good beauty about this is that no one knows who are the others in the group. And therefore, there is no any power dynamics. It is neutral in that sense. So it is very independent of every other's power contribution. Nobody knows who gave that. That is the beauty of this method. So only the researcher knows who were in the team. Others, they don't know. Lindsay, did I answer to your question?
You did. I wrote in the chat box. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And actually, I have minimized it, that one, so I need to stop sharing so that I will be able to see that. So is there any other questions, comments?
Dr. Jayaratne, via chat, we have a question from Nasib.
What is that?
And he says, can this method be used on farmers as experts?
Exactly, yes. And if you are an agriculture agent, or if you are working as a youth development extension agent, so if you want to do, actually it's a very good tool for need assessment as well. And if you want to identify, for example, if you are planning to do something, and if you want to get their consensus on whatever that you are planning, you can do that, because the expert doesn't mean that they need to have a PhD or something. They are expert in the sense that they are in a better position than anybody, giving a practical answer to your question. So that is why we consider them as the experts. So they are, don't mix that with the traditional so-called experts. They know what they are doing. Therefore, they are in a better position to respond to your question and find answers, find practical answers to your research question. Yes, obviously, yes. There is another question: is that Kente has a question, or is that statistic? And yeah, you don't need to worry about the statistic, because this method doesn't require so much statistics. And you will be able to use this one, because it is the action research, anything, when you are planning programs, when you conduct need assessment, and anything can be done with this tool. Because, and again, it doesn't, it takes a little bit of time, but if you plan, you can do it within, the 2 months, 3 months, depending on the business of your target audience. But what is important is that selecting the target audience, that the group, and getting their commitment. That is actually the quality of the research output depends on the quality of the group that you select. How much they are directly relating to find answers to your research question. For example, Laura's dissertation, she wanted to identify actually what are the the critical factors for a camping program to be successful for a staff. What are the qualities, skill set that camp staff needed? So she selected camping directors, those the faculty who are doing camping as a research, so across the country, so that we make sure that we included a balanced group of professionals from academic as well as practitioners. Any other question? Is anything I didn't see, Joseph, you found?
So, Dr. Jayaratne, some advice I've been giving graduate students that I advise is that the Delphi technique is always appropriate when you need expert opinion, but you cannot bring those experts together in one room,
yes,
to give you their opinion. But it's also appropriate when you need to remove biases from a face-to-face meeting. It seems like with COVID, Delphi is more important than ever.
exactly. And if you're doing a dissertation, you can do it without any hindrance as well as any deficit, because you can do it online. What you need to do is that assemble your panel, related to the central to your research question, and then you can do. And so again, doing research in this time is really challenging because of COVID. But this method provides that an option, very practical option. So that is the beauty of that. And again, sometimes we do focus group interviews as a research method. Now we can do that, but we can do it using Zoom. But the problem is focus group is that power dynamics, and it can hinder some of actually results, because some of even if we try to keep it neutral, but it can happen. But in this case, it is really power neutral, and no one will dominate. Nobody knows who is providing this and that. By the end, when we build the consensus, it is with the the majority consensus, but nobody knows whose idea is that. Yeah, it is a good question, Dr. Johnson. I think, yeah, this is really good this time until we come to the normal. I don't know when it comes, but it is really a good thing. And yeah. And if you want to see that, how you can, especially graduate students, if you are doing your master's thesis or dissertation, and see that Laura's one is a very good one. And so see that. And yeah, I have provided the link to that, and it is available in our library website.
What additional questions do you have for Dr. Jayaratne?
I will tell you another thing is that if you nowadays people are tired with surveys, and when you send a survey to your target audience, it is hard for you to get the consensus and all that commitment for that. It is challenging. But in this case, you will select only 10 to the 15 individuals related to that. And then it is easy for you to keep track with them. If they get the commitment, it is easy for you to do a follow-up. So that is the very good thing. Getting a good response from teachers or extension agents. If you are lucky if you get 50-60% response rate. So that is actually that is there. But in this case, if you contact them, explain them, you can actually individually call 25 people and get their commitment. That is another aspect of using this one. That is how Laura was able to put together that 25 some experts across the country.
And speaking to that, Dr. Jayaratne, Jennifer has posted in the chat that the last Delphi study in which she participated had 100% response rate.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that is the the good thing, because once you explain what you are doing, and once you explain why you selected this individual, that individual has a kind of a commitment. Yes, I have been selected because of my this knowledge, and I need to respect. So that commitment, that motivation keeps that individual as the spirit of responding to that survey for 3 times. So that is a good thing.
I want to thank Dr. Jayaratne for his presentation today, and I want to invite all of you to give him a round of applause and or find an emoji to express your appreciation to Dr. Jayaratne. And just to save you some time and energy, there's no emoji in Zoom for statistics or for research, which is very sad. There is an emoji for slot machines, which I find very disturbing. But we'll talk more about that later. And hopefully someone will do a study on the emojis in Zoom and the emojis that we need most in academics. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Jayaratne and Dr. Chapman and Dr. Hardison Moody for their contributions to our fall seminar series. And I would like to thank all of you for your support of the fall seminar series. And looking at the participants today, I'm impressed with how many of you have attended every session this semester. So I thank you very much. As a commercial, next fall, we will have Agricultural Education and Human Sciences 809, which is our colloquium. It will be held on Tuesdays, and we hope to see you there. We will share more details in the spring semester. The colloquium is open to everyone, but graduate students will have the option to take it for credit. Again, that will be called Agricultural Education and Human Sciences 809. Thank you very much. I hope all of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you have a wonderful end of the fall 2021 semester. And again, thank you for supporting the Agricultural and Human Sciences Fall Seminar Series.
Thank you.